Hey, welcome everyone. Post 4th of July Wednesday stream. How's everybody doing? Make sure my computer is charging here. I just noticed that the battery looked really low. Um, Let me unplug it, plug it back in, make sure it's working, and it's not. Interesting. All right, I'm going to have to take care of that here shortly. Anyway, Mark Harris, hello from Ohio. Robert Klotz, hello. And Colt 45, good to see you, Colt. I see you've been doing some commenting. Sheik David, Georgia Guidestone's explosion, huh? Well, I don't know. Bunch of earthquakes in South Carolina. Mr. 53 Gill, hello. Tom Budis, hello. Good to see you. Colt 45 is commenting away. And I need the beach. Give me about 15 seconds, guys. Let me fix this power before it just shuts down on me. So just a moment. My apologies. And now it is charging. Crummy design, how they put together these chargers today. Hello, Back Chic. And Rolos. Hello, everyone. And yet Hillary is free. Colt 45, I love this. United States has the highest prison and jail population. Land of the free. 2,121,600 in adult facilities in 2016. And most of them on misdemeanor, well, I guess they were felony because it was federal, usage of marijuana, stuff like that. And this is what happens when you have, it says the highest incarceration rate in the world, 655 per 100,000 population in 2016. And the people behind bars might even have more rights than we do. Were they required to wear certain things during certain times? I don't think so. Anyway, maybe they were. But, yep, and yet Hillary is free. Yeah. Nothing like living in a free country. But this is what happens when you make prisons private, and so it's for profit. And so there's no incentive to let prisoners get out of jail. The incentive is to keep them in jail and get more in there. That's the incentive. All righty. So we're going to look at something. Stanley, hello, Stanley. Good to see you. We got 15 people here. As soon as we get to 20 people, we're not going to be long tonight, guys. I won't last long. But anyway, hello, Sissy May from Alabama. Alabama. We're going to look at this video. Mr. Wizard Supermarket Science. I just want you to, and you're going to hear this from other people, how stupid this is. See, this is what they have to do when they make up crap like gravity that doesn't explain anything really. Explains, I don't know what it explains. Because if you don't factor in density and differences in density, I mean, what they're saying is, oh, things fall at 9.8 meters per second squared through a standard atmosphere. But if you take away the standard atmosphere, what happens? You have a feather and a hammer fall at the same rate, right? What did they change to make the two fall at the same rate? Or if you want to believe that we went to the moon, they dropped a falcon feather and a hammer, and they both hit at the same time. What changed? Why don't they hit at the same time on Earth? Oh, a factor of density changed. They removed the atmosphere. Oh. You'd like to go to tea, huh, Stanley? Thank you. Well, I'm going to be making a decision on all of that soon. As you can see, the beard is there, but it's very Indianish. The Indian blood just doesn't want to let it come in. So we're going to see. And The gray is actually, it's pretty much all over, which I like. It's not just one spot what it was before. So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna make a decision on it. The decision probably will be: do I keep the goatee and get rid of the rest of it, or not? So, but anyway, we're gonna listen to this. Not for long. I got to set you up here with what this experiment is, or demonstration, whatever you want to call it. All right. So, from the looks of this, both these people might be dead now. That's how old this thing is. It looks like it's from the 60s or 70s. Anyway, I guess there was a Mr. Wizard. I sort of vaguely remember this show. But anyway, so he's there with a teenage girl who probably would still be alive. If he's Methuselah, he's still hanging in there. What they did was they took red food coloring and put it in the bottle with hot water, and no food coloring in the exact same bottle with cold water in it. And what they did was they put a playing card in between the two, inverted, as you can see here, there's an inverted hot water bottle on the top and on the left, and a cold water bottle on the right. And he wants her to predict what's going to happen, which is part of science. So, hello, Alan and Whale of Beef. Good to see you. So we're going to play a little bit of this, and you won't. Every time I hear this, I crack up. So I don't care what it is. Gravity is supposed to pull on something at the same rate, right? But I've heard people say, "Oh, the reason why a hot air balloon goes up, Rich, or a helium balloon, is because gravity is pulling harder on the air around it." Really? Gravity just knows to pull harder on certain air if it's more dense, huh? See, if you say it's more dense, you've put density into the equation, and it's no longer just gravity. Gravity is supposed to be non-discriminatory. It's supposed to pull everything at the same rate, correct? All right, listen to this joke, and maybe I'll get a copyright strike on this. I don't know, and I don't care. But if they're still making money off of this, shame on them. So I'm going to play this. I'll mute my microphone. And so anyway, here we go.
It can only go up, right?
Right, but the cold is going to come down.
Right. And in this case, with the hot on top?
It's going to have to come down because of gravity.
Oh.
Or just mix a bit.
Okay, let's try it. First, let's do this one.
All right.
Except for the leaks.
It's not mixing very much. Just a bit at the top.
Now, think about cold and hot water. Which is the most dense, cold or hot?
Cold, because the molecules are closer together.
Right. So gravity pulls down on the cold more than on the hot.
Can you believe it? Gravity pulls down more on cold than it does on the hot. It's so nice that gravity is so selective. It's stupidity and it's one, but this is where they have to go. They have to go with this. And it's so stupid. It's just ignorant and stupid and dumb. I'll rewind you just a little bit just so you can get a little bit more enjoyment out of it again.
Water. Which is the most dense, cold or hot?
Cold, because the molecules are closer together.
Right. So gravity pulls down on the cold more than on the hot.
Yeah.
So this is going to stay there. So nothing can go up.
Because there's no space between the molecules for the red ones to go in between.
Well, no, it's not the going in between. The fact that the molecules of the cold water are more dense. They're closer packed together. Therefore, they're in effect heavier, and gravity pulls down on them. Okay,
so when I put this down, everything's going to come down. This is going to go up.
Right, because gravity is going to pull down on there. Do you think you can do it?
I'll try. Is it lined up?
Okay. Aha.
Oh,
you're right.
It's really going up.
Yes.
A lot faster. This didn't have any.
Well, this shouldn't stay there until the two of them get the same temperature. Then there might be some intermixing. But as long as the hot was down here, the cold water is being forced down by gravity, pushing it.
And all the air.
Can you believe that horse hockey? It's so stupid. Gravity's pulling more on the density. Oh, you're pulling density in, and they can't see it. They can't see it. That's what's crazy. Is that what it was, Stanley, in 1980s? Was it reruns or was it live? That looks older than the 80s to me. Stanley, you had a goatee, but went back to the Hulk Hogan stash because mine is gray and scraggly in the middle. Yeah, I don't like that sporadic gray. This is well. I mean, it is a little bit, here and there clumped together. But hello, Alan. Shalom back. Gravity requires a spacey mind. That's right. It's just, can you see what the problem is? They can't explain it without getting into density differences. Gravity pulls down harder on the more dense molecules. So if we have a bowling ball that weighs 5 pounds and another bowling ball the same size that weighs 10 pounds, well, the 10-pound one should come down first because it's obviously more dense. No, they'll come down the same rate, won't they? What's that about exceptions to the rule? That means the rule is invalid or the law? 80s, huh? Interesting. So is gold worth more in Alaska RT? Alaska RT. I don't know what RT is. By the way, there is a new, I don't know how new it is, but there is a new warning. I think the next stream, I might be able to do on Thrive and Survive. We'll see. But the Iraq War, I got a warning about that. I mean, not the Iraq War, I'm sorry. They're all the same. The Ukraine War. Evidently, if you say it's a libertarian type of deal, which I would never say, because libertarian and war, they're sort of like oxymoronic. But evidently people are saying that's what it was, and they got banned off of YouTube. In fact, they took down, I think it was 90,000 videos, and they took down 40,000 channels. I don't know what it was, the numbers. They were humongous. Because you can't have your own viewpoint other than what the mainstream narrative is and your government is. Speaking of Russia, that's what they had during the Pravda days, right? Yeah. Stanley says the 60s episodes were black and white, but it did go into the mid-80s. I'm sure many episodes were reruns, though. Interesting. Yeah, it just looks like the decor there and all that kind of stuff. It looks like barely into the 70s. There's still a little forensic analysis on it. We have a refrigerator that looks very early 70s. The wallpaper or whatever looks 60s. The cabinets look 60s. But the clothing looks more 70s to me. So I don't know. But the idea is still wrong no matter when it was put up. Gravity pulls harder on one than the other. And it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And people will defend it. You're going to come on and defend it, normal defenders, you know who you are. Because the same normal defenders of that have told me the air pulls down harder on the air around the balloon. That's why it rises. Don't make no sense. However, if you take the hot air balloon and somehow you chill that air inside the balloon, it'll start sinking. Same air, same amount of air. You change a factor of density. A hot air balloon rises because that's what hot air does. If it's hot relative to the surrounding air, it will rise. If it's cold relative to the surrounding air, it will sink. There's no exceptions to the rule unless there are not exceptions to the rule, but there are times when you have what are called inversion layers, where it's just physically impossible for it to penetrate the barrier. It tries to, like cold air trying to get above or get below where it's sandwiched in between hot air above it and below it, and the hot air below it's trying to rise, but it can't get through the cold dense air. It's called an inversion. Most people can identify with fog. Fog is due to an inversion. It's where warm air is trapped at the surface, and it's in contact with cooler air just above the surface, and then that's a cooling process, and then you get a cloud on the ground called fog. So what's up, everyone? Let's see. Let's see what gold is worth. Precious metals been taking a beating as predicted, but they're up today slightly. Gold is down to 1743. It was 18 something, 1840, I think, last time we spoke. Silver's in the teens again, 1930 roughly. And oil, I don't know what a barrel of oil did. It really doesn't matter. It's the futures of gasoline is what matters, and that is way down since we last talked, relatively speaking, way down. And let's see where we're at with that. It was up 5/1000ths of a penny today to $3.24.1. That's futures of gasoline, $3.24. This was, well, let's see where it was. Oh, about 440, 450, not long ago at all. Last month, 12th of the month, about 435 roughly. So it's down $1.26. Oh no, $1.16. Down $1.16 from the high. So our high here in Arizona on average was about $5.69. So we're down $1.16 from that high. So if you take $1.16 from 565, right, that would be 465, 455, 454, 49. We're at 439, 440. So we get gouged. Where's our government looking out for us? Huh? Preventing us from getting ripped off. Because as soon as it goes up 10 cents, the very next day you go to at the pump, it's up 10 cents. The futures. See, the futures protect gas stations like the futures market protects farmers. They go by today's price on the futures market. Green sky in South Dakota. Are you expecting tornadoes in South Dakota? Green sky can show up around that. Whew. Hot as hell. I had to come home and cook, so my air fryer did a nice job of providing heat. Too bad it's not winter. Robert Klaus, freezer silver will be heavier for gravity, worth more. You got it, Robert. Oh. You know, I still, at some point, I got to get back to those readings I did on the airplane. I think they're going to be inconclusive every now and then. When I have nothing to do, if I'm waiting at a doctor's office for Michael or whatever, I'll kind of look at it, and it just looks like it's inconclusive. Just that I haven't done the numbers. Evening before, I just saw you there. Thanks for saying hello. Hello back. Good evening. Who wrote the book of Hebrews? Well, it's widely expected, or it's suspected, I should say. Let me get these people off, these jokers. Mr. Wizard's wizardry. Wizardry. More like Satan's wizardry. The book of Hebrews, of course, most people think that Paul wrote it. And I would tend to agree with that because there are several different things, not several. The opening and closing are very reminiscent of Paul. Now, Paul says in one of his other epistles that he always signs his epistle or puts his name in it or whatever. But the thing is, if Paul would have signed the book of Hebrews, it's written for the Jews. The Jews hated Paul. He was a turncoat. He was a Benedict Arnold. He was the Benedict Arnold of the day. All right. It would have never been accepted. It would have never been brought in. It would have been destroyed. Don't know, Maria. The people in the chat, they evidently know what's going on with the Georgia Guidestones more than I do. Let me see if I can look it up and find something. Georgia Guidestones blown up comes up in the search. We have a video. Let's see if I can get it for you. CBS News. I'll probably get a thing. Yeah, ad blocker. Screw you, CBS News. I wouldn't give you even the chance to play an ad. Let's try Fox 59. See if they have a video. Officials. According to officials, this is crisis in Ukraine. So this is from official news sources, YouTube. Officials say Russian missile strike hits crowded mall. Pentagon working on plans to send troops to protect. Oh, here we go. To protect U.S. Embassy in Kiev. Why don't they just do like they should do and just pull everybody out of the embassy? Anyway, Starbucks is leaving the Russian market, shutting 130 stores. Poor Russians, they can't get Starbucks. They're going to be asleep in the morning. Sounds like an opportunity to me for Dunkin' Donuts. No, I don't want to get updates. Former U.S. Marine killed in Ukraine, relatives say. Biden seeks $33 billion more for Ukraine amid Putin's threats. I don't want to get blocked. Anyway, here's a video we might be able to see. Let's see. What the heck? Hold on a second. Well, let's look at it together. I don't know what this is. It looks funky to me. It's a weird player. But let's go for it. So let me get rid of Mr. Wizard. He's lags behind, even though you guys don't see him anymore. All right, let's see if this actually plays. I'm going to mute my microphone, and hopefully you guys can hear this. You didn't hear anything because there was no sound. That was the video. So it looks like they got a car under surveillance. Oh, surveillance. I never have a problem with the word surveillance. What's going on? Well, who was responsible? I've seen the vids on Twitter. Jughead! Hello, Jughead. And Maria. Hello, Maria. Maria Giannetti. You're either single and Italian or married to an Italian, would be my guess. The shadows of the utility lines are drawn from behind him, not before him. Oh, see, people already tearing stuff apart. That's me, car. That's Whale. Whale Beef did it. We knew you'd come through, Whale, and get rid of all that stuff. Man, you have no idea how hot it is. Cold 45. Gravity affected the Georgia Guides. Obviously. And the stones that were the most dense, they fell first. Can you believe that crap? So, if we take a pound of copper and a pound of gold, gold will be more dense, and we drop both of them. So if we have a 1 ounce copper coin and a 1 ounce gold coin and a 1 ounce silver coin. They're all 3 different weights. Pretty different, actually, as far as densities go. And we drop them. The most dense would hit first, according to the science guy, and according to everybody else who can't explain why a helium balloon rises. Single and Italian. All right, Maria, you're my new girlfriend because I love Italian cooking. I'm going to assume that you learned from your parents how to cook. Actually, spaghetti is my favorite. Spaghetti with meat sauce. You know, I go to these Italian restaurants. My son, he found this awesome Italian restaurant. And I went there quite a bit a couple of months ago when Michael was in the hospital because it was 7 minutes from the hospital. And my son lived, Zach, he lived 10, 11 minutes from the hospital. So it was very convenient after, visiting all day or whatever, we'd go out there. And so I really ate like crap for about a month. But, oh my God, the spaghetti with meat sauce. And every time I go there, my son's trying something different. Lasagna, fettuccine, whatever. He's trying all these different things like that. You always get spaghetti meat sauce. It's like, yeah, if I find good spaghetti meat sauce, I don't need anything else. Nothing. Drexter, your favorite. See, what we need to do is, everybody that likes Italian, when we all get together one day, we'll have to have Italian instead of the typical, like, hamburger and hot dog cookout, something like that. Better buckle up, Rich. If that's hot, you could float away. That's right. That's right. I got to, I have something else, a precursor, if I can find it for you guys. Are you sure you want to leave? Yeah, leave. Get rid of this. I had I tried to find out what video exactly it was, but it was already removed by YouTube. And I guess they only give you so long if you don't see the thing right away. And goodbye, Mr. Science Guy. Oh, this channel right here, I actually put in for monetization with YouTube, and they're gonna let me know in a month. In a month. It shows you they don't need revenue, do they? Where are they getting their revenue from? I see it, but I can't find it. There it is. All right, this one I don't think is copyrighted. But this is a little precursor to me getting into Coriolis effect. What they're going to do is they're going to show you how hot and cold water interact with one another in a container, or where there's boundaries, and the atmosphere creates its own boundaries. I'll get into this. They're called cold fronts, warm fronts. Anytime you have cold air, it's a boundary to warm air every time, just like we saw in the gravity pool just a few minutes ago. But I want you to notice what happens, because I will equate everything to water, because the atmosphere is treated like a fluid, because it acts exactly like a fluid in many cases. In fact, the science of the atmosphere, when you study the different movements and things like that of the atmosphere, it's called air fluid dynamics. air fluid dynamics, because it acts just like a fluid. I wish it would let me preview what I'm about to share to see if I have the right video details. It tells me, it says this video is video details. One just says YouTube. All right, I'm going to assume this is it. Let's see what happens. No, that's definitely not it. I know what that is. Remember, did I show you the? Yeah, we showed on the one of the streams where Paulster X, he said nobody believes, Rich, that pouring water into a drain north of the equator is going to go one direction and south of the equator is going to go another and not spin at all. Nobody believes that. And then I found a video. It just came up in a feed of our buddy who can't believe, who believes in dinosaurs and believes in the Bible, but he can't go there when it comes to the flat Earth. What's his name? Anyway, shoot, I got to find it now. Ken Hovind saw the video that we've shown over and over where the shyster lady goes to, she's on the equator and she's got still water, and she drops in leaves and pulls the plug on the bottom and they go down straight. Here's the video. What's it called? Convection experiment. Now, why aren't you giving me this? But anyway, Ken Hovind says you can go down the equator. Look what's happening. He believes it. Some people will believe whatever they see. Remember that, because that's what's going to be the great part of the great deception and the great lie. When the fallen angels come back, it's probably going to be on NBC, CBS, CNBC, Fox. It's going to be on all of them. Seeing is believing. And they'll probably stop all the wars. Oh, here it is, I think. Yes. Thank you. It's finally showed me a preview so I can know it was right. What I want you to do is I want you to notice, in particular, what happens when these different colors hit a boundary in the water. Notice what they do. And now I got to find it here so I can go back to it. So this might take a few minutes, but let's take a listen here. All right, I'm going to have to mute myself, so just a moment.
Show you in a minute. And then we're going to put 2 sections of blue food coloring on either side, and that will represent cool air. When we move the hot water underneath the red food coloring, that will represent the uneven heating of the Earth's surface. And we will see what happens here as we add some hot water. And I will zoom in here. So again, the hot water represents the uneven heating of the Earth's surface, which should create some extra warmth in our atmosphere there. And we're going to watch this red food coloring closely. If all goes well, it should start to rise. And there we see, if you look at the bottom of the food coloring, we can see the food coloring start to rise, which means our water is warm enough. And so that's creating an area of low pressure as the hot air rises. And as it rises, we can already see that the blue food coloring, which represents the cold air, is moving in to replace the warm air that is rising.
Now, this is very important. The blue, which represents the colder air, starts moving in to where the warmer air is. Now, imagine that the red is the equator, the hottest area where the sun goes over every day. And then on the left, that's south of the equator. The cold air moves in from the left. And north of the equator on the right, the cold air moves in from the right relative to where the hot air is. Makes sense? Let me continue it a little bit more.
Rising. So it's moving into that area of low pressure. And that is a good representation of convection, which creates air movement or wind.
Okay, I muted it because I don't know if that song's copyrighted or not. Notice that the blue, especially on the left, it's doing it. He's far enough away where you can see it. You start to get what happens. It starts to swirl counterclockwise, and on the right, it starts to swirl clockwise. Coming from different directions. So it's just a little preview of what's coming. So that demonstrates, and we're going to see some other examples of how that works. Maria, so singing pizza is great regardless of shape. That's true. So keep that a little bit in mind. I think I'm gonna do a separate video and upload it on this channel. Let me see one other thing. Let's see if I have it here real fast. And we're gonna put this Coriolis stupidity to bed, hopefully. Actually, we won't because they have to hang on to it. No matter what. No matter what. Ooh, that's awful small. Let me see if I can make that larger for you guys. Here's one other thing. Everybody's familiar with, I would think, warm fronts and cold fronts. And remember, a cold air, it's just like a wall, hitting a wall. It's a boundary. So here's a cold front. Okay, look in front of it, the warm air, what happens? It can't get into the cold air. It's more dense. So it's forced aloft. And then you get clouds form. Convective clouds, cumulus clouds. So we're going to be tying a bunch of different things together. And you'll see why it's not Coriolis effect. Because if there was Coriolis effect, there would be no exceptions to the rule. Because what Coriolis effect supposedly is, with a Coriolis force, pseudo force, is that because the Earth's spinning faster at the equator than it is at the middle latitudes, where you have this, this tendency to spin a certain way. And if you're north of the equator, it's one way, and south of it's the other way, because you're going in two different directions away from the fastest movement. But the problem is there's exceptions to the rule. It's rare, but you get low pressure systems that spin clockwise, not counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere, and vice versa. Same thing with tornadoes. So those on the stream will know the true cause of why things spin the way they do, why there's exceptions. There would never be an exception if it's physics. If it's physics and you have a box that has air in it, and you heat it, just like that water we just saw. You heat it in one certain area, it's going to rise. As long as it gets warmer than its surrounding air or water, it will rise. It will expand and rise. Every time, there's no exceptions. Thank you, Maria. Back to basics with true science. Somebody a long time ago should have got a little bit of, I don't know, 3 or 4 brain cells put together and said, wait a minute, some things rise. What if human beings, think about this, and I know this is kind of stupid, but what if we were less dense than the air around us, but we wanted to be on the earth? So we always had to walk around with a ball and chain. How's that? To keep us affixed to the earth. Meanwhile, we're kind of like floating up on the chain. We'd be more interested probably in what makes us rise than why we're not down there with the ball and chain on the earth. Do you understand what I'm saying? But because we're more dense than the air around us, we sink. But there are plenty of things that are less dense. How about the cloud in that picture I just showed? Water, it's more dense than air, isn't it? Why is the cloud up there in the sky then? Holding millions, I don't know if that cloud is, but millions of tons of water is above your head, whether you can see clouds or not, every single day, even here in the deserts. Every single day, it's above your head. Millions of pounds. Why isn't it on the ground? Well, if there was an ocean down here instead of grass in this picture, why is the ocean water on the ground, but the water, or let's say it was a lake, fresh water, let's keep it the same. How come gravity is pulling the water in a curve, no less, in the lake, but it doesn't affect the cloud? Strange. Why is that cold air sinking? It isn't shown here, but cold air is sinking as it moves forward. It creates a wedge like that's here in the picture. Why is the warm air going aloft? Isn't gravity necessary to? I mean, gravity doesn't like warm air? It likes cold air better because the molecules. Oh, the density is different. That's the difference. Why didn't somebody come along, because it doesn't go along with the narrative? That's why. Many hundreds of years ago, and say this is bull crap. It does not explain everything in nature. Where the beef, water in vapor form is lighter than air, I'm told. It is until it gets to a certain temperature, and then it is no longer. Then you'll get a cloud, and it'll settle at a certain level. Joe Mama! Well, thank you, Joe Mama. I love you too. Oh, I love that. Wow, look at those jet streams. They make so much more sense on a equatorial azimuthal projection. Test, wow. And I did this early today. What time did I do this? 2:30, 3:30 this afternoon, 4 or 5 hours before the stream. Sorry about that, Tess. You know how YouTube is. Cindy LJ, but guess what? 5 seconds after I upload this, if I get a copyright strike, 5 seconds it'll be into it. But they can't give you a notification 4 hours ahead of time. Or if I say something wrong about, I don't know, something that happened in 2020 or 2018 or 2015 or something like that, or something that's going on overseas right now, or something that's, I don't know, something, it's not good. It's you're removed. You're against the narrative. Goebbels says no. Michael B, hello. I have so many papers. My stuff is piling up. Guess what I did? I sent a certified letter, return receipt request, to my landlord, who I have now been living here since December 2019, and they keep saying I owe them money, and they cannot. Every time I go up to the office, you owe this month. So I show them where I paid the check that month. Oh no, it's this month. So I take a state. I've taken innumerable statements up to them. I've never missed a payment ever, and they keep saying I owe money. And this last time, I'm taking care of Michael, so it's important. My time is very important right now, and I get a certified letter myself. So I go to the post office. I have no clue who it's from. It's from them, and I'm working with them every day. And they're telling me, no, we can't find it, but we're going to find it. And every statement, every month, past due amount. And they had late fees. Anyway, I get a freaking thing from them saying, you need to find rental assistance so you can stay current with your rent. I waited in line 30 minutes in the heat at the post office. The line was out the door. I was like, that's it. So I sent them a notice saying they have until September to show me either where I have made a mistake or not paid, or to clear. Actually, I found out they owe me $340 some. How's that? Because they gave me a credit back for my initial deposit. All right. But they offset that with a $799 charge out of nowhere. Who knows where it came from? Previous balance due, $799. And they've told me, yeah, we've gone through every single month. You paid every single month. Duh. So where do I owe you money? They're so inept. So it's like they're going to either fix me up, or I'm going to take them to court. I'm going to sue them for relief and damages. Both. 3 years I've been dealing with this. No more. And the thing that bothers me the most about it, I mean, it wouldn't matter to me if, hey, you tell me I still owe you whatever. When I die, who cares? Because this has been going on 3 years. Why not 30 more? But if something happens to me, Cindy, hello. I didn't see a typo. Maybe I missed it. Anyway, so they get the letter tomorrow. Can't wait. Oh, they can't evict me, Colt. They can't evict me. That they can't do. So I don't know. I don't know what to ask for. But if it goes to court, it will be somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 for the headaches for 3 years of dealing with this. And it's the third time I've gotten a certified letter from them. One time was during COVID. I waited more than 30 minutes that time. Tess, yeah, we talked about the Georgia Guidestones a little bit. I don't know anything about it other than it looks like there was an explosion. There was an awful lot of smoke. I didn't see any flame or anything. And you know what? Let me search YouTube to see if they have a video, because CBS News, they won't show it unless I take off ad blocker. And I'm not going to give them 1 cent in ad revenue. Sorry. I don't feed the beast. See if somebody's done a video on it. How long is this video? Hold on. We may have one. Wait, let's play it here. 3 minutes, 15 seconds. What is the white stuff outside the? You'll see on the video. We saw it last time. I was like, what is that white stuff all over the ground? So maybe somebody can tell me. Anyway, let's watch this video together. I'll mute myself here in a second. So give me a moment.
Tonight, an explosion destroyed part of a popular North Georgia monument. that's been the source of a lot of speculation over 4 decades.
Those near the Georgia Guidestones say that they heard a loud boom this morning. Now officials are working to figure out who did it. Fox 5's Eric Perry is live near that monument in Elbert County, where crews have been at that site for over 12 hours now.
Yeah, Courtney, Tom, if you joined us at 4 o'clock, you would have actually seen part of that monument still erected. Within that past hour, crews brought in equipment and they've knocked the remaining portion of it down. You're taking a live look here as they're working through this. A lot of agencies working together on this. We are standing on this side because at one point, crews didn't know if there were other bombs that were planted or not detonated earlier. Whether you're in the air or on the ground, the massive presence from law enforcement is unmatched after an explosion jolted those surrounding the Georgia Guidestones near Elberton Wednesday morning.
For the years, we've had messages spray painted on the Guidestones, but we've never had this level of damage ever done to the Guidestones.
Christopher Kuvas is with the Elberton Granite Association. His organization's in charge of maintaining the popular tourist site. He says the county owns the property and maintains security.
One of the wings is completely been destroyed. It's actually laying on the ground. I can see it. And the capstone piece is been damaged, and I'm sure the other 3 wings and the center support probably have damage to them as well.
The attraction was unveiled in 1980 by R.C. Christian and a group who funded the project. The detailed granite work was done by a local manufacturing company, and it's no small feat. The wings are over 16 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and a weight of a whopping 42,000 pounds.
You know, here we are several thousand years later, and Stonehenge is still standing. Imagine if it had writing on it, and you could read what the people of that time thought was important and wanted to leave for future generations. That's what the Guidestones were.
The stones don't come without controversy. Some found them offensive, like former gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor, who took to social media in May voicing her disdain. Taylor tweeted more thoughts against the stones shortly after the explosion.
We actually had to install cameras several years ago after the vandalism got so bad. But, you know, it does break my heart. You know, if you don't like the message that was written on them, you know, that's understandable. That's your prerogative. But, you know, there's no reason to take it away from other people that might.
And back out here live, taking another look as they continue to work. And we're also going to show you on this side, the main road is open back up, but you can just see that.
Okay, we got the gist of it there. I got a quick question, though. Why in the hell is it on government land, county land? So they kept that open for that. Evidently, somebody private paid for it, but the county gave up that land for that. I bet you the people that erected those stuff, they don't have to pay taxes like you do if you put a little mobile home on that same site. You have to pay taxes every year, or they haul it away. Jeez. Well, at least it's all gone. So much for that one. There you go, Stanley. I was thinking the same thing. Stonehenge was rebuilt and restored to modern times. What if Stonehenge had message? What if Stonehenge? What if the stones themselves were the message? Like I don't know. Like if they put everything in the original way, the equinox will still go through the same thing it's supposed to go through every equinox, so that Earth isn't drifting around the sun and the universe like it's supposed to be. The Milky Way. Yes, the media lies. I don't believe it. Yeah, all you can do is just look with your eyes and say, yeah, they're definitely being destroyed. Anna, the monument is fallen. Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen. Stanley says good riddance. Yeah. Well, I don't know. YouTube, please, YouTube, don't block me. I love the Georgia Guidestones. Please keep them up. Please. Let's all do a GoFundMe and get them back up. Probably the next thing you can't talk about. You can't talk against the Georgia Guidestones coming The Comfort Stones didn't say to keep Earth's population under 500,000. Yep. Pyramids are still here. Sphinx is still here, although I think the Sphinx is something modern too. But just think about it. First of all, why does the county own land? I don't get this stuff. Who gave the right for the county to own land? That's right, Drexler. Sarcasm rules. Absolutely rules. Joe Mama. Keep the Freemason population under 5. Yes, and have them all in the same jail cell. And it's just wants to give them a couple days. Everything's backwards and upside down in Georgia. Hey, what was the latitude of the Georgia Guidestones? I bet is it around the 32nd? If we can actually find it out. It's 34 degrees north, 82 degrees west. So, oh, the Georgia Aquarium, though, that's at 33 north. Dun, dun, dun. Six Flags Whitewater, 33 north. Stonehenge, 42. I live at 30. Where do I live? Let's see. I think it's 33rd. $33.4 north. And 111, 3 ones west. Phoenix is 33.44 north, 112 west. Ooh, Scottsdale's very close to mine. 33.49 north, 111.92 west. Ooh. Is Mesa a good place to live? No, good place to live. Is Mesa a good place to live? Mesa is one of the best cities to retire in because of many of the same reasons it draws snowbirds to the area. The amazing weather and active lifestyle. You can have golfing, hiking, or horseback riding. Not to mention getting behind old people and sitting in traffic for a half hour longer than you have to. Its close proximity to Phoenix also allows retirees to enjoy the big city but live more comfortably in the suburbs. This is a suburb, please. What is Mesa known for? Mesa is known for stunning views of the Superstition Mountains. That is cool. And I see that every day when I go to the gym. Superstition Mountains right in front of me. Beautiful. It's a nice place to go shroomy, if you know what I mean. It's beautiful desert climate, and it's sometimes insufferable heat, like right now. Although it is now a well-known city across the United States, is it? It may be hard to believe that Mesa was once a small town with a 1 square mile stake of land to its name. You know what changed that? 2 words. Air conditioning. That's what changed that. Oh. What latitude is Globe, Arizona? That's a good one. Let's find out. That's not too far from me either. It's farther south. $33.39, 110.78 west. There's always fires in Globe or close to there. All the US 60 is one of the main east-west routes here, and it runs through Mesa, Tempe, and then it turns into I-10, or ends and there's I-10. But it runs to Globe and beyond, further east of where I am. And there's always, usually about a month from now, it'll start. Fire, whatever, some exit. And when you look it up, it's like just before Globe. And it'll have the highway closed and stuff like that. Joe Mama, latitude. And Joe Mama, you're right. Talking to Stanley, for all we know, it was the original construction in the 1950s. Talking about Stonehenge. Hello, Cindy. Cindy J. Love you back. Good to see you again. That's a good picture of you. I assume it's you. What kind of nut anyway would spend all that kind of money? It's got to be the elite. Oh, and I was wondering too. They blew it up, and you saw the piece that was missing or whatever. Maybe that was less dense, so it's one that fell, but all the rest didn't. Why did when they blew it up? Why didn't it go up in the air? Thank you, Whale. Says don't forget the thumbs up. I'm going to start talking more about the Patreons. I think I'm going to put their name on here. I really appreciate everybody that supports the channel. And by the way, for you who has just sent me something from down under, you know who you are. It is uncanny. It is just unbelievably uncanny how when you do that, it's like I'm in some sort of desperate mode. And because this time I had the 4th of July holiday. So I usually get my Patreon money on the 5th. But this time I didn't because of the holiday. Well, I ended up getting it. But it was way late in the day. And I was like, I got zero. Or I had, what did I have? I had $2 and something. And I had to get food. I had to get something to cook and some milk, whatever, water. And it just happens all the time. Hello, Vintage. Good to see you. No, new footage of the moon? Saw it on YouTube today. Is it from Apollo 26? I'm waiting. I want to get those stocks and mining stocks for the moon. That's what I want to get. Mining stocks for the moon. Just like you can get stocks in oceanfront property in Arizona too. For construction of beach properties. Yeah, I'm going to start a company and start selling shares. And I have much more chance of that because who knows, a great earthquake, California drops off, who knows? There's more of a chance of that happening than us ever having mining companies mining for gold, I guess, and silver on the moon. Please. Apollo 26 went right through the moon. People have already bought Moonland. What fools and idiots. Fools and idiots. What they'll end up doing is they'll leave it to their children and their children's children and their children's great-grandchildren and their children's great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren until Christ comes back and says, fools. I forget which camera filmed it. Was live and it changed views every so many minutes. Oh my goodness. Oh. Isn't that funny? You can have live footage, different angles of the moon. You can't get one of the Earth. Oh, but Rich, the Japanese satellites taking pictures of the Earth every single day. No, it's not. Sorry. Composite. Sorry. It's just not happening. Cindy, if you look close, you'll see my life support scars. Life support scars? Trust me, nobody wants to be me. Life support scars. Well, I don't see them, but you're beautiful no matter what. Scars or no. Life support, huh? What happened to you, Cindy? Were you in an accident or something? Scars don't make people ugly anyway, I don't think. To me, it's sort of like scars add character. Shows you've been through something. But that was different when I was young. When I was young, I didn't, this, you can't see it. It sort of went away almost. Remember when I cut my hair short, I was like, you're going to see where I cut my head and got 23 stitches in the Navy. And it was like, you couldn't really see it. It was a little teeny fine line that kind of over the, heck, that's been 40 years ago. You can't hardly see it anymore. But I started looking at it. Hey, that's a battle scar. That's what I got. It's like Michael. He's got a huge scar on his leg and a huge scar on his arm, and it's always going to be there. There you go, Anna. I like that. Scars are tattoos from God. Cindy, cardiac arrest after. Did you have a NDE, Cindy? I bet you did. Question is, did you remember it? Those who do have them, it's like more. It's a better memory than other memories they've ever made. Most people, anyway. Tess, oh, she's your daughter. Oh, she is daughter. She is beautiful. Absolutely. Maria, I always wanted scars as a kid to tell a story. Yeah, we're brought up so much. I don't know how kids are brought up now, but in my day in particular, everything was how you looked. And it came from my mother's generation. And I picked it up from her. If there was anything wrong with anybody, she would point it out. Not that she was bad with it, but she was, oh, he's in a wheelchair. Such and such, the wheelchair guy. Or, she's got a scar. Or it's like, so what? It's like, we were talking on the stream last time, and I wasn't quite all together with, because I wasn't planning on talking about it, but I was talking about how I was recently at a gathering, and there was 3 gay people there, and I'm okay with them. They don't do anything to me. I don't do anything to them, whatever. I judge people on who they are versus what they are. There's a difference. Think that through. You judge people on who they are versus what they are. What they are is they're obese. What they are is they're super skinny. What they are is they're short. What they are is they're tall. What they are is they're funny looking. What they are is scars. What they are is gay. Or what they are is whatever. Who they are is a big difference. You can be a perfect human being as far as anybody can tell and be the biggest asshole walking. Sorry for cursing. Stanley, what is the best method to send you a donation, Devin? I tried a few times and for me couldn't figure out how to use the link. We were complete computer dummies. Actually, the best way is through PayPal, and I'll put this on here. I used to sell colloidal silver. It was called colloidal silver gold. So sales at colloidal silver gold.com. That's my PayPal. Me and my son just did something with cash with PayPal. And it's very easy. You go to PayPal, you click send money, and you put in the email address. And it finds them, and you click on it, and then you send it. Now, if you don't have PayPal, it's got to be some other stuff. But I thought it goes into, well, maybe not recently, and maybe not on this channel, but used to be on the streams. It would give you all the different ways you could donate to me. And I really appreciate that. Thanks for asking, Stanley. And I appreciate you just trying. I appreciate it. Cindy J, I remember dying going home, yes, but unfortunately, it wasn't my time. My son was 4, my daughter 13. So y'all said it wasn't my time yet. Unfortunately, I just want to go back home. Going home, yes. So you spoke with God, Cindy. You got a message from God while you were, quote, dead, unquote. I mean, this stuff fascinates me. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to go to the other side. Thank you, Stanley. And I have a scar from my forehead to behind my ear, but the surgeon did his best to help hide it. Forehead to behind your ear. Okay. You know what? You live long enough, everybody gets scarred up. Unless you're unbelievably lucky. You got it, Vintage. And that's something I knew as a kid. I didn't know it in those terms, your spirit never ties, but I knew, I've explained this before. I don't know what I was, 8 years old, 9 years old. I remember thinking certain things about if I had it wrong. I was like, if I was dead, I'd just be in somebody else. My consciousness is the way I can explain it now, would be transferred. I knew it could not be extinguished. There was no way. I just knew it. But that's kind of beat out of us by society, who's mostly atheist and whatever. Yes, you wanted to say, well, I have to admit that, the kids are like, I can't talk about it. I'm too emotional about it. But at some point, I'll talk about when I was close to wanting to go to the other side. But I'm not that way now. I mean, I would love to, but I do realize that people still need me. I mean, Michael's 32, and I'm there every day, being his caretaker. Maria, absolutely, we're eternal, which means we always existed, always. Just because we didn't have consciousness before this life. It's sort of like, well, my belief is, if you've listened to me long enough, we're all God. Everything is God. We're his creation. We're his procreation, just like we procreate here. Why we're exactly here, I know it's to fulfill the will of God and to fulfill his plan. I sort of think we're here to play, have experiences that the collective whole can then draw on later. And it's a learning process even for God. Like Jesus, he learned, what was it? He learned obedience. I think the Bible talks about two things Jesus learned while being here. Anyway, Maria, I agree with that. We are held back intentionally for his pleasure. The word says, yes, you got it, Vintage. Very good. For his pleasure. This is God playing. That's why God created Satan. If you think it through, if there's no adversary, there's never any risk. There's never any danger. Everybody loves everybody else. Nobody ever takes a chance. Nobody has to create because you got everything you need, because God created abundance and everything. So we have the illusion of scarcity while we're on the earth. But through all these things we learn, we have family members that we've loved, friends we've loved, pets we've loved. Things we couldn't know. Do we really love them? Because we love everybody. And everybody loves us. Do they really love us? There's no adversity. I mean, you find out, like Michael with his accident. You find out who's there, who cares, and who doesn't real fast. At first, you can have a lot of people show up at the emergency room. But how many people are still showing up 20 days later, 2 months later, 3 months later? You find out. You find out what people are made of. You don't have to guess anymore. Well, thank you so much, Stanley. Everyone in this stream needs and loves you, or we wouldn't be here. This is the one live stream I try to never miss. And I do think that as well, Stanley, that I know there are people on the stream who love the stream. Yep, vintage, and he loves us all unconditionally. And since that's the case, it's all going to turn out well. We win in the end. It's all his creation. He's not going to lose not one. There you go, Maria. Yin and yang. And God says, I created evil. I created darkness. Because nothing that exists, including Satan and evil, God is a two-sided coin. All 100% good on one side and all 100% bad on the other. Let's play. Heads or tails. It's your choice. But there's a plan that we don't understand. These people, a lot of people who have these near-death experiences, they remember almost everything except one thing in common they never can remember. Many people ask when they get to the other side, what is the purpose of life? And some have said they know it has to do with, well, they've been told, not necessarily directly the purpose of life, but they have been told, if you don't go back, the plan of God will not work out the way it's supposed to be. You individually have your own integral part in making sure the plan of God unfolds. That's every one of us on the stream. That's every one of us on the earth. Good, bad, indifferent, in the middle, whatever. We all have a part in making the plan work. There's no waste with God. There's no extra people here. Well, yeah, we got 7,252,153 people. That's all necessary for the plan of God. And I'm going to let another 500,000 or 50 people, 5 people live extra. No. There's no extra with God. There's no waste. We're all the family of God. And one day we're going to all realize we're all part of the same thing. We're all family. Just like we're all from Eve. All life came from God. All of it. But these people are told, like I said, they come back with all kind of fantastic things. Seeing relatives they never knew before, along with relatives they did know who passed away, and animals and different things like that, pets. And they ask all kind of crazy different questions, and they give them answers. They come back and they tell you, this is what I was told. But the one commonality is if they ask, what is the purpose of life? The majority will say, nobody tells you what it is. Why? Because everybody says, if they ask it and they're given the answer, it's so simple, but I can't remember. And they even remember being told that they would not remember, because somehow that must screw it up. We're all one. Yeah, there's people we don't want to associate with, that's for sure. And we shouldn't associate with everybody just because they're all part of God. But eventually, when everybody's turned the right way, we'll all be one great big family, however many billions of people there are. And it may just go on forever and ever. It says the end of his kingdom, there is no end to his kingdom. It keeps expanding. Thank you, Stephen. Your last year's pleasurable fellowship. Thank you so much. There you go, Eric. Body of Christ. Mystery revealed to Paul. Not like the Catholic, the body of Christ, whatever they do. Dave Palmer, when I was about 3 or 4, my dad asked if I knew who was older, him or me. I said, we are the same age, Daddy. I remember being friends. That always gets me when he tells me that. I don't remember. Yes, very good. Oh, you know what, Dave? That kind of confirms something. It's just a thought of mine. I think, like you and your father were always friends. I think that the people we end up being best friends with in life, parents, siblings, different things like that. I think we mutually choose each other before we come into this life. Like your best friend, Dave. You're like, hey, Dave, I think you'd be a great father. Will you be my father? And of course, not all of them are great people when they come into this world. They succumb to cares and pleasures of the world. But I think we chose these people. And maybe we chose negatives for a reason. I could not have had, well, I guess I could have had a worse father, but he was absent. And thank God he was absent. But it taught me exactly how not to be with my kids. There was no better teacher than that. He taught me that by being a drunk and away all the time. And he was abusive to my mother. So that taught me don't be abusive to women. So he was a perfect teacher by not being my father. And maybe I selected that. I even think, and this is going to sound crazy, but just mull it over. You can't prove it one or the other. It's just thinking. And I think God wants us to think about these things. I think we're given sort of like a point system. Okay, Rich, you're going to come into the earth. All right. You get 100 points. You want to be really good looking? That's 70 points right there. Depends on how good looking, 50 to 70. You want to be smart? That's so many points. You want to be tall? That's so many points. You want to be wise? That's so many points. And the reason why I think that is because you rarely get someone who's unbelievably attractive and unbelievably intelligent at the same time. You get these personality quirks with the super intelligent. And a lot of the people who are super intelligent that I have run into are not going to win any beauty contests. Let's put it that way. Never have, never will be. And anyway, it's just something to think about. So the Godstones, 4:33 a.m. Exactly. What happens around those numbers? What else happens to those numbers? Christ crucified April 3:33 AD. That's what they tell us, which is bunk. No way it was 33 AD. Absolutely, 100% no way. Couldn't be. April 3rd is possible. I don't know. I have to go back and look at it. The reason why they picked 33 AD is for a couple different reasons. One of the reasons is they need Jesus to be crucified on a Friday, and he was crucified on a Wednesday. But it wasn't 33. In fact, where was it? I was looking. They know, or they're pretty sure, we're, I don't know, so many years off just from that time period. Like if they said it was 7 AD, it was probably really 4 AD. Because there's like a 3 or 4 year period that is really murky in there. Not to mention other stuff and adjustments they've done to the calendar. For all we know, Jesus was crucified 500 years ago. Seriously, how do we know it didn't happen 500 years ago? Or 5,000 years ago? We go by their word. And modern day history sucks. I'm a World War II buff. I watch documentary after documentary after documentary when I have time, when I'm not a caretaker. And you see so many contradictions in the very same subject matter. Like I said, one of my favorite movies is Ike Countdown to D-Day. And Eisenhower and Churchill have this wonderful symbiotic relationship in World War II where they work together, they're friends, they plan together, and on and on. They're in lockstep together. You watch another documentary or another movie, they're at each other's throat, hate each other's guts, can't work together, disagreed on just about everything, yelled at each other. I wasn't there. How do we know? How can you get the same two viewpoints? There's two British movies out. One is called Darkest Hour. It's about Winston Churchill in World War II. And there's another one. I can't remember the name of it. I actually saw it in theaters. They contradict each other. And they're both British movies depicting Winston Churchill. Yeah, I know, Rethink. No, say it doesn't matter if it's definitely true or not. They picked those numbers. They definitely picked those numbers. Drescher says 31 AD. I actually believe it was 27 AD. Oh, boy, I'd have to knock some memories loose to get to dig that up, why I think it's 27 AD. It actually may be one other year too, maybe 29 or whatever. There's two different years that are very likely. 33 isn't one of them. Double daylight savings. He thinks that I agree 100%. If it means anything, it was planned by the psychopaths. It's a favorite number to mock. Absolutely. Absolutely. They like the number 33. We know that. We know the Masons like that number very much so. They like 32 to like 33. Here's the thing too. They made a mistake, and this isn't if everything is factual, they still made a mistake how old Jesus was when he was crucified. Because what they did was they westernized the story. See, if I was born in 1960. So let's just say I was born in January of 1960. I wasn't. I was born in December. But let's just say January to make it simple. I was born January 1st, 1960. Okay. How old would I be January 1st, 1961? Well, in the West, I'd be 1 year old. In Israel, I'd be 2 years old. You're born 1 year old in the East, in Jerusalem, in the Hebrew land. When you're born, you're 1 year old. So the Bible says he was about, no, nothing exact, but it says he was about 30 years old, which means to our reckoning, he was 31. 3 years later and a half, supposedly. Although you can make an argument that he was only here 1 year. Believe it or not, you can make that argument. But you can also make the argument for 3.5. If it wasn't for the book of John, you could not make the argument that he was here more than a year. Just to let you know. But he would have been 34 or 35 when he was crucified. Yep, 33rd year, like 33rd degree. Absolutely, Dave Palmer. Good to see you, Dave. April 29th, 1960. You are older than me, Joe Mama. You old man. Oh, that means happy birthday. Not too long ago, 3 months ago. Less than 3 months ago. The Bible says he was 30 when he started his ministry, and his ministry lasted 3 years. Do the math. I think it says he was about 30. First of all, his child. And 3 years would say 33. However, the Hebrews wrote that. In our Western world, he would be 34. Because if he was 30 in Hebrew land, he was 31 here. Let's see. How old was Jesus when he started his ministry? About 30 years of age. The Gospel of Luke 3:23 states that Jesus was about 30 years of age at the start of his ministry. Check this out. A chronology of Jesus typically has the date at the start of his ministry, 11 September 26 AD. Others have estimated around 27 to 29, and the end of the A range 30 to 36 AD. Most people believe that AD stands for after death. Most people still think that. I believe most people do. Dave Palmer. Yeah, I wish I knew now when I was 33. Yeah, no, now when you knew what 33. Yeah, it's just wisdom takes time. Wisdom takes time. It just does. A lot of wisdom does. Some people have wisdom early. Some people you have to acquire through just going through the crap. But the deal is, if we were to know, it's like his birth. If we were to know, if we were supposed to know when Jesus' birthday was, we know it. There would be zero doubt. All we know for sure is he was not born in the winter. That's all we know for sure. We know 100% for sure he was not born in the winter. And yet, when do they peg his birth? December 25th. So crazy. Good night, Vintage. Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. As always, good to have you. I'm going to go in about 5-10 minutes, guys. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I got to get up so early tomorrow. I'll hang in there a little bit more. Then I'll curse myself in the morning. Yeah, Stanley. Even events in our own lifetimes have contradictory accounts. And we just believe everything, don't we? No, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about society. 2 planes knocked down 3 buildings. Actually 4 from what we looked at last time. But 3 of them fell on their own footprints. "12 people from Saudi Arabia got on a plane with box cutters." It had to be a government operation to make up something that stupid. Joe Mama, you don't get credit for the century until the 100 years are done. The millennium started in 1001, not 1000. That's absolutely correct. You're not born a year old, right? Get it? Yeah, a millennium, yeah. Like the new century didn't start until the year 2001. Because there is no year 0. There was 1 BC, 1 AD. All right, Anna, in case you fall asleep, thanks for stopping by. Always good to have you. Well, how about that? We're supposed to have a leap second. I looked it up and I was like, oh, if the year is divisible, it's got to be a round number, 0 year. But it could be like the year 2400, 2800, 3200, it could, whatever. So the year 2000, it qualified. And because it was a 400 year or whatever for the leap second. I was like, how are they going to pull off this stupid crap? A leap second. Because the earth is slowing down, you know. The year 2000 was an exception because if the number is divisible by a certain number, whatever it was, then you skip it. It's like we're going to run out of helium in 2030. Remember, you heard it here first. Oh, no, you heard it from NASA first. We're going to run out of helium in 2030. You also heard from the experts that we were going to run out of oil, or we would have at least peak oil in the late 1990s. Then in the 2000s, Then in 2017, that was absolutely it. You moved the goalpost with 93 minutes. I am not late. Hello, DCM. Trexter, my dad was wondering if they simply passed away. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yes, the summer due to COVID that caused pneumonia. Oh, speaking of which, sorry to hear that, Drexter. Real sorry to hear that. What did he have? I'm sure he had comorbidities. So if he was born in 61, he was only 60, or roughly around there, within a year. But usually there's some comorbidity in there: obesity, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, or a combination of those. My son Zach just came down with COVID this past weekend, or I don't know. My days run together. I'm sorry. Within the last 4 days, he came down with COVID, and so I had ivermectin left over, enough for one full dosage, or one full treatment. So I drove it over to him, and guess what? 20 hours later, dang, he's much better. Still feels really like the pneumonia tiredness you get afterwards. But that'll go. I told him that'll be gone in 5 to 7 days. Just keep taking one a day. One $6 pill a day, cured. Not cured. No, that's the wrong word. Sorry, YouTube. He feels much better. 60. That's too young. Heavy smoker in his early years. So COPD maybe. Yeah, I actually have COPD. I smoked for 20 years, pack a day, and didn't even know I had COPD until after my second heart attack. When I thought I was having a third one a couple years later, they did a CT scan, and the lady comes in, she's reading the stuff. She goes, and emphysema, and she kind of looks like that, because I think she realized maybe she was telling me something I didn't know, and I didn't know it. I was like, what? And but she said it's not typical of smoking. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, well, smoking, and I might have this backwards. Smokers usually have the damage on the outside lining of the lungs, and mine was on the inside, or vice versa. I can't remember now. But she said mine was atypical of a smoker. But I did have something happen to me once where I was grilling food on a grill, and it got out of control, super hot. The lid was closed. I went and opened the lid. As soon as I opened the lid, the wind shifted towards me, and all that heat and smoke came to me, and it shocked me, and I inhaled, and I burned the lining of my lungs. And I remember I had to take antibiotics for it. And I was kind of messed up for a couple of months. And I don't know, did I even smoke then? I don't know if I smoked then or not, but I was messed up from that. So it may be from that, or it could be from all the chemicals I sucked in the naval yards when I was on the ship in the Navy, because they didn't have good ventilation on the ship. So who knows? But I'm atypical. I'm asymptomatic. I don't have symptoms of it. Thank God. He was on a CPAP machine since he was mid or late 30s. Whoa! Oh, CPAP. Okay. Yeah, that was probably for. I have that too, but I can't sleep. I can't sleep. Period. So I'm supposed to be on a CPAP machine. CPAP is for, in case people don't know, CPAP is for sleep apnea, which is not healthy to have, but I've got it. I've got a weird type too. I had to go twice before they found out. First time they're like, we didn't detect anything. The second time they're like, yeah, we detected, but it's a really weird. So I have a weird setting on my CPAP machine, which I don't use anyway. By the way, nice face, toupee. Yeah, keep it going. No good tea. Ha. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get rid of this side stuff or not. We shall see. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. It's so sparse. What do I care? It's like scars. So what? Maria, glad you caught it live too. I'm actually about to go. Drexter, sorry to hear you have it too. Yeah, it's good to be on a CPAP machine if you can deal with it. My brother-in-law, he's on it every single night, but he doesn't have problems sleeping. I do. And the problem here is, in Arizona, the air's so dry. And so you have moisture that comes through the thing, but I have to turn it up so high, it's almost like it's dripping in my mouth. But not drip, it's sort of like squirting. It's just not good. So I kind of gave up on it. No, about to go doesn't mean a half hour this time. Well, although it did 20 minutes ago, did it? About that. I have to go. I'm wrung out, guys. So we'll do a stream Friday. If I get time in between, which I may, I'll put together a lot more of what really causes what people call the Coriolis effect with weather. I'll put that all together. You got it. If you've been on the whole stream, you got a good preview of it tonight. And it does allow exceptions for the rule, whereas Coriolis force does not allow exception for the rule, and exceptions exist. And I will have the full. If you didn't, I did put the wrong tornado video on the first stream. Second stream, I did show it. I'll have it again. It's a tornado that's spinning the wrong way in the northern hemisphere. And that happens. It happens with that. It happens with the cells that spin around it and the larger low pressure. There's always exceptions. There's not always, but there are exceptions and to the rule. And that's not the case if it's physics. And I'm trying to find this one video that's fantastic about how the ocean water should spin. It's fantastic. If I can find it. No, thank you, Tess. I appreciate it. Mr. Tudor. Good to see you. Good night. Hello, Deborah. Everyone is doing pretty well. Well, thank you, Stanley. Appreciate it. Real beef. The stream is my highest priority power family events. Thank you so much. You guys telling me this stuff, it does give me impetus to try to do the streams. 4th of July would not have been a good stream. There was things that got screwed up on Monday, and I figured a lot of people would be doing stuff anyway. But I do plan on being back Friday, and I don't have to get up Saturday morning, so it can be a longer stream. And hopefully we'll have more stuff to talk about. It's hard to even keep up with stuff like you guys told me about the Georgia Guidestones thing. I'm taking Michael to doctors. We went to 2 today in 2 different cities. So me keeping up with stuff is hard. My dad had sleep apnea, went on meat-based diet and more sleep apnea because he lost 30 pounds in 2 months. Very good, Dave Palmer. He's even eating organ meats now. Good stuff, guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. Carnivore is the way to go. It's the way to go. I'm eating, guys, just real quickly. I am eating, I keep track of my calories. My AMR, which is your active metabolic rate. So I consider my active metabolic rate the days I go to the gym, which is most days, six days a week usually. In fact, last couple of days I went to the gym and I was like, towards the end of the workout, I was like wanting to go home. I was like, this is usually what happens if I've been coming more than 6 days. So I started scrolling back, and like I said, with everything that's going on with Michael, I just sort of lose track of time. And I'm scrolling, I'm looking at the dates because I keep track of all my workouts, and I'm going, like, what the heck? When did I last take a day off? It was 12 days before. So I'd gone 11 days in a row without a day off. And I was like, oh, that explains it. Because towards the end of the workout, I'd start running out of energy. I'm thinking about leaving instead of being there. And anyway, but I'm doing mostly carnivore. Doing mostly carnivore. And my AMR, my active metabolic rate, which means that on days I'm active, going to the gym, how many calories do I have to consume to just maintain my weight? You ready for this? It's around 4,200 calories right now. I actually have been, I added it up the other day. I've been averaging almost 4,300. I've lost a pound in a week. So it definitely works. And the more you can go for beef and stuff like that, and eat the fat, please eat I should share with you all my blood results. My cholesterol, it's the lowest it's ever been in my life. And I'm eating as much fat as I can. I eat all the fat on the steak, unless it's absolutely unchewable because it's gristle or something. And that's rare. I consume a lot of fats. My cholesterol's 167. Used to be 300 and something. And I don't take anything for cholesterol. DCM, beef, pork, and lamb, bad for the planet. I know we eat them all. It's not bad for the planet. In fact, I think we did something on that. If we didn't, I can do it. It's actually bad for the planet, so to speak, to eat, to be a vegetarian. Very much more. Joe Mama, in the Southern Hemisphere, you have to turn the gun around and shoot it at your own head, then you'll never think about the Coriolis thing again. Oh, I love it. And we're going to end on that note. Cindy J, thank you so much. God bless you all. Bless you too. And you're very beautiful. Absolutely. Don't worry about any scars. They are your life story, your battleground. We all face battles. We all go through battles. We all get scars sooner or later. Some are little, some are big. Physical scars are much better than the emotional ones. I can tell you that. Anyway, God bless, guys. And it is who you are, not what you are. And what you look like. It's just not. So God bless. We'll see you Friday, guys. You all take care till then. And yeah, take care and see you then. Bye-bye.